Hey all, thanks for coming back to the channel, and we're going to kick off a very short little series of 3 videos today. And number 1 is going to take us back in time almost 20 years to RiD. That's right, Transformers Robots in Disguise 2001, or if you prefer, Car Robots. Either way you cut it, we're going to be taking a look at this guy today. It is RiD Ultra Magnus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, man, that's right, hit that notification bell, please, because it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. And it helps me out a ton. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, and the Autobot family, and have a look for me everywhere across social media. And this is Robots in Disguise, or Car Robots if you will, Ultra Magnus. He is huge, beefy for the most part, and I said that this was going to be kind of a series of 3 reviews, because we're going to review this guy this time, then we're going to be taking a look at Optimus, and then we're going to be taking a look at Omega Prime, their combined mode. And I thought it was probably best to do them as 3 separate videos, kind of inspired by a friend of the channel, Optimus Wilbur Reviews. And he recently looked at this guy and Optimus, and you guessed it, Omega Prime. So I'm curious to see if my thoughts kind of coincide with his. And he largely said here that this is great for collectors. It's certainly big and beefy, but that his primary intention was to really go combined with Optimus, and therefore he has somewhat limited articulation. Is that true, or will I be kinder to this guy? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And yes indeed, here in part 1 we're going to focus on Ultra Magnus. One part, if you will, of Omega Prime. Now, the RiD Ultra Magnus is well regarded as one of the top Ultra Magnus offerings that there ever was. Is he as good as people tend to say he is? He came from that Robots in Disguise line. Recently we looked at a couple of offerings from Robots in Disguise and from a later line, Armada. And now we're going back again to Robots in Disguise. And I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend. Needless to say, a lot of people will recognize this mode as not only the one that was used in Robots in Disguise, but it's also the truck mode that was used recently by the Siege Ultra Magnus, which was very strange. It was a weird Ultra Magnus with a beautiful kind of like G1 robot mode, but then it had the RiD truck mode, and there are certain nods in that truck mode and the way the conversion works that kind of tie in with this a little bit. Like the back half of the truck in Siege becomes the legs, just like it did here. The front half becomes the body, really, just like it does here. So there's certain, I guess, inspirations in Siege that was, in fact, taken from this guy. I looked at the Siege Magnus in episode 497 some time ago. Needless to say, this one is much bigger. He has rubber tires. The tires have a little bit of writing on them. Some say Cybertron. The back ones say God Magnus. Apparently they weren't changed from his offering in Japan, which I find kind of interesting. They're rubber tires. He rolls like a champion. He has his blasters. I put them back here, but you can put them up right here just as easily. They have a lot of movement to them. Like, you know, this whole section can move around, and these red pieces can move, and these blue pieces can move. There's a lot that you can do with that. It's very versatile. Any kind of ports and pegs that you can find, it can sort of be used. We have 2 missiles here. Obviously, they are spring-loaded right here and right here. They, you know, they'll fire if you hit the spring-loaded button. I'm not going to do it now, but you get the idea. Like I said, he rolls like a champion. He's all one piece, just like the Siege one is kind of all one piece. Like, the cab doesn't turn independent. So we're going to just take this off, and we're going to lay that to the side. I do find it very interesting that if you want, you can unpeg, if they're pegged in, you can unpeg the feet and bring them down, and even these down. And apparently this car carrier mode for Magnus can in fact hold all three of the Autobot car brothers. A car carrier that can actually carry the cars. Who knew? I think that might be about it for truck mode. I mean, it is what it is. It's a truck, right? I'm going to reserve doing grades for this guy until we get him in his robot mode, and we're going to begin to do that by picking these off the side and picking off the back half, and I'm going to roll this half all the way out for now. And much like with the siege line, the back half here becomes the legs. And basically we fold this up and we fold this up and we take these, maybe I gotta do the blue pieces. Yeah, blue pieces first and in. My mistake. Blue piece around and in. So we do that and we split the legs and how is it that this goes? Like this, I think. There. Whoa, I went a long way there. Wow, my apologies. Okay, we bring that down like that. That doesn't go all the way up now. It folds up, fold this back, fold this up, fold this down. There, now we have two legs. The only other thing to do is to come here to the back and bring this piece up. Come here to the back and bring that piece up as well. We have two lower legs. They are long legs. And that brings us now to the front of the truck, which is of course going to be the upper body. This is the part that is challenging. The legs, they're pretty easy, but this part is not the easiest. I'll do the best I can to show it. It's sort of ingenious, but there's a lot to it. So we take these and we can fold them up over like that. And we can pull these out and kind of split them apart and sort of open them like that, just to sort of get them out of the way, if you will. Then we can come to the front here and untab it, and this comes up here and we can put that in like that. That's kind of where the front is so far. Whew. Okay, then we come to here and we can open out and open out. That gives us his arms. Now you're gonna notice that things are getting kinda rough and weird. We come through and should be able to kind of bring the head up for now. The leg pieces here, if I can get this all sorted out. We come down and we open out that little flap, and we come to the other side and we open out, if I can do it. And that one likes to pop off. That little flap. And then these need to also kind of rotate around. I'm gonna get that done and reorient things here slightly so that we can go on, because this is hard to show. Okay, so this is kind of where things are oriented. The head, it comes up and it bends at a hinge and turns around. There is a little rectangular slot there. It's going to go into a slot here on the chest eventually, but we're not quite there yet. So much kind of just flails on this guy. The arms, they all come around, and there's a little tab here that goes to a little notch on the arm. So that comes all the way around and down. And same over here. They don't like to, on this copy, they don't like to necessarily tab in the best. They'll get there eventually, but it's a little bit of a chore. We come to the back, and this piece folds up this way, I think. No, maybe I have that done incorrectly. Okay, it was just easier if I kind of come this way to show you what's supposed to happen, because I'm not going to be able to show you how this goes properly when I flip it around. In essence, what you do is you take both of these and you line them up, and these will fit into each other thusly. Right here is where they kind of notch together. But then this whole piece, and maybe I can, I don't think I can though. No, this whole piece needs to flip up around on this like set of hinges in here. So I actually need to take this apart, flip this around, angle these up and push them together. All of this comes down here on the back. Now if you're wondering kind of how all this is oriented, I had it like this with these tires up. Now I'm folding it down on the back and these tires face forward. We straighten out the head on this hinge in here, and now the little notch that's in the center here is going to notch into right there. We orient the arms, and this is the upper body done. We put the legs into these two ports down here so that he looks like this. And boy, does he have legs, and he probably knows how to use them pretty well. We come here to the shoulders, and back heavy at the moment. We put the shoulder pad up, we put the shoulder pad up, we turn the arm around, there's a ball joint in there for the elbow, we turn the arm around so it's oriented the right way, and then we kind of straighten out our hands, which are also on ball joints with a base pin knuckle. I think for the first knuckle, all the fingers are connected, and then we have a thumb also kind of independent on a hinge. But this is him in the end. Now he does have his blaster, and I'm not clear on the configuration for it. I'm going to try and do that and put it in his hand just so you can kind of see proper-ish how it's kind of sort of supposed to be. Okay, so I figured maybe I would just show how this goes before I put it in his hand. So you take this and you turn both of these and they do notch together back here. Then if these were like flipped this way or some such, this is the like orientation. Really, you should kind of try to have them at least. This turns, say, that way. I guess you could do it the other way if you're so inclined. Using, you just saw one of them get fired. Using this here, it will, or even this one, I guess. No, that one's more square. Using this here, you're going to like peg it in his hand because his hand has a 5mm, I guess that's 5mm port on it, right in the palm. But this is pretty heavy for his arms. So what we have kind of looks like this in the end. Now it's time to get into those scores. So the transformation, there's a lot to it. It's kind of brilliantly done, but man, there's a lot to it and a lot to digest with it. Is it done well? Yes. Is it parts former? Yes. If you do not like parts formers, this is not the Magnus for you. The lower body, pretty simple. The upper body, it takes some getting used to. You have to do it a few times, and I don't know how clearly I showed it all, but you do have to do it a few times. The way to really keep yourself oriented with the upper body is the positioning of these tires, because when you start fiddling with the upper body, they're facing straight up from his shoulders, but they should, by the time you get everything together, be folded such that they're facing outward, basically from like under his armpits. It's good. It's well done. It's a lot to it. I'm going to say it's a solid 9 though. It's really interesting to see how everything kind of moves around here, even though it's parts former. So a 9, pretty great start. In terms of his coloration, well, you know, the head is pretty much right. The chest is pretty much right. We do have the red here. That's not exactly the way it should be based on the animation. Taking this thing out of his hand, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a 5mm like port in there. The blue on his upper arms, the white, the red or the blue and white hands, the lower legs, even the yellow and red on his knees. It's all pretty much there. I'm gonna say, honestly, I'm gonna say I'm going to say pretty much 10. Now, to be fair, there is a little like alternate part here that some people may be yelling and saying, hey, GotBot, you didn't do this. You can bring these pieces forward and bring this down and in. I've seen some transformations done with this forward, which does match the animation better, and some where it's left back. So it's really kind of up to you what you do. A little bit back heavy, but so far we have a 9 for the transformation. In terms of his look, again, I'm going to say it's a solid 9. He's a 9 so far. Then we get into the articulation for the guy. We have a head that goes left, right, up, down. We have arms that go way out to the side. They can go forward, they can go back. They can actually go all the way around if you want to use the actual shoulder hinge there. We have a swivel, but I think that's because of the ball joint for the elbow. The elbow under 90 degrees, that's a bit of a shame, but there is an elbow there. No waist that I can discern. The hands can rotate, they can go back. The fingers, of course, are pinned, like I said, as is the thumb, which I think is kind of fantastic. Then we get to the legs, which I thought at first were just one big brick, but we do actually have heavy ratchet way out to the side. Not really going to be able to go back because of all of the like junk back here, but can go all the way forward. And we have a thigh swivel. Really it's because of the connection point for the knee. And I didn't think we had a knee at first, but in fact we have a super duper deep knee. It just so happens that he has huge lower legs. Huge. I mean, he's all head, chest, and then legs. There's almost no pelvis or tummy to the guy. Nevertheless, the articulation is really all there, and this guy can score some really dynamic poses. I'm going to say, honestly, another 9 for articulation. By the way, before we do the overall, here he is next to something that's more of a modern day leader. So this can tell you just how big this guy is. This, of course, is Star Convoy. And I looked at Star Convoy in episode 654 some time ago. So at the end of the day, just how good is this guy? Well, he's a 9 across the board, and you can see right here that he can score some pretty dynamic poses despite having some very peculiar and odd proportions. Just goes to show that you shouldn't always judge a book by its cover. And here we are once again, and here this guy is. Okay, so first things first, he's a fine truck, I guess. Now you will notice that I did not show any of his sound features. I'll give you one now, maybe, just for those that like it. Ultra Magnus, transform! There's a machine gun sounding one. There's another couple of buttons. They're not my thing, man. They're not my thing. So if you want to hear the lights and sound, I'm sorry, check out Optimus Wilbur's review. He covered them, but it's not my thing. Now, in terms of his look, I think it's fantastic. I think it's pretty much accurate. In terms of the transformation, it's okay. A little fiddly with the upper body, more than I'd like for it to be. In terms of the articulation, the arms are pretty good, but no, I guess the arms are pretty good. I mean, it'd be nice if the elbow was a little bit deeper. No waist, but I understand why. It'd be nice if there was a waist, but I get why there's not. Now, I thought originally that the legs were nothing but one solid piece, going down basically, but they do have, ability to move, and they do actually have a really deep knee. Now, to be fair, the back of the legs are kind of hollow. So I don't know how much of a problem that is for people, but you hear people complain about like hollowness a lot of the time. It's not new, man. It's not a new thing. I wish that this probably on the side of his leg folded up better. I did, for the purposes of our closing thoughts here, bring out both of these pieces. I didn't in the review. It's up to you. I kind of like him back, but I mean, if you want him out, cool, I guess, whatever. He's all right, but I feel like here's the thing. If they'd done an update to this guy, I think that they could knock it out of the ballpark. In fact, they kind of already did with Siege, and they done a pretty great job. So it shows that this vehicle mode can result in a pretty awesome robot. The original was alright. Is there room for improvement? Sure. Do we know that it can happen because of Siege? Absolutely. And maybe, just maybe, one day, it will. Let me know what you think about Ultra Magnus. Is he your Ultra Magnus? You know I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, there's a donate link down in the description. Please hit the subscribe button, baby, if you haven't done so already. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference. And I look forward, man, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.